Welcome back, friends, to EU League. It's our final game of the day. Team BDS, we've unlocked them here, but Rogue still yet to be unlocked for today, much like Fabian here on the desk. That's our final game. We're hoping for it to be a banger. We've had a fast day in general, a very quick one. Let's see if it goes forward. A bit slower for the final one. I'm Mr. Medic, your host. With me are Fresh and Fabian. Let's have a chat about these two teams. First up, Rogue.
50-50, I would say. I'm trying to collect my words to how I feel about Rogue, because I feel like they actually strategically put in quite a good performance against G2 on Monday, but ultimately they lost the game. And I think it came down to a little bit of nerves, particularly Deepak and Kanto. First game back for Kanto, first game for Deepak. And I think if they get over that little stumbling block and actually solidify some of those mistakes, they lost a round to a default camp, for example, solidify those mistakes, they're looking pretty okay.
They are actually not looking as bad as I might have expected myself. We actually have a player highlight here for you guys, and it's not maybe that someone played great. Well, he did play great, but it's mostly the reason I want to highlight him. It's not because of his stats here.
It's his photo.
It's the photo. We haven't unlocked Leon yet, but the reason I want to highlight Leon here, sure, he had a good game, 14-8. It's a good game. He had pretty high EPS, but the reason I want to highlight him is that he's made a role change. From being a more aggressive player, he's come back to a support role now, not the hard support, but second support, more like it. And being able to move around that like that inside the team, it's impressive that he managed to pull off those stats against one of the top teams that we look at, and at the same time, he has changed his role. I'm assuming he has a little bit more responsibility when it comes to calling now as well. So it's impressive to see that he can manage to move that forward.
It shows a good attitude as well, because we know Leon, realistically, from back in the day as an aggressive player, as an entry player, playing those roles that gets in engagements. And he's saying, if I need to fulfill this role for the team, I'm mature enough and I want to be a team player. I'll go into the backline and I'll do that role.
The moment he gets a cat, his whole life changes. Yeah. I'm just saying.
They grow up so fast.
They do. They do grow up so fast. Fabian, yes. BDS on the other side.
I think that the three of us can all agree that we were not very impressed by BDS in their first Playday here. They were struggling hard with their attacks. They were missing a lot of basics. Sure, we have talked about Na'Vi earlier today, and Na'Vi did play good. They had good team play and defense, but that doesn't excuse BDS mistakes in their attacks. They weren't following up on their own utility. They threw flashbang and nades, but then nobody really came. And then they put themselves in choke point positions when the time wasn't enough for them to use it into something positive, and they never really used anything intelligently, if that makes sense, when they could have. Looking at the other game we saw in Villa, the last Playday, we saw Smokes, we saw Ying. And from BDS, or Na'Vi for that matter, now that we're not talking about that, nobody of them used anything intelligently.
It was so strange because they got a lot of entries as well in that particular game, so they would go to 5-4, and then it was just, they would hit this void of just a minute of like nothingness.
Yeah.
Which is so uncharacteristic for BDS. We're used to seeing them, strategically, they don't always go forwards, but they just, it's one foot in front of another, building up to something that's objective and clear to see. And we didn't see that from them. And I think, I'm wondering if it's a bit of a hangover from Invitational of, they had that disappointment, maybe it's something to do with that, but they hold themselves to higher standards than that.
Their defenses were nice, but they were lucky that Shaiko did Shaiko things in overtime and got two super hardcore entry kits.
Well, where will he need to show up? Is there a question? Our maps. Bring them up. 9-map pool, 8 are out, 1 is left, and we are left with Rogue deciding to get the Skyscraper. First time we get to see it here in EU League. Chalet has been taken out just before, and because of all of this, it's BDS that chooses starting side, and they're on defense for it. Attack for Rogue. Fabian, thoughts?
I think it's quite a defender's favorite map so far, what we've seen. And I think that comes with it being a new map. Most new maps are defender favorite to begin with, and then they slowly shift to, well, one way or another. It just stays really hardcore defender, or it gets more even or more attack. I think that for Rogue this might be a little bit of a problem, because BDS had good defenses. But if BDS don't win enough rounds in defense, I think we might be in for a struggle.
I think the bans can be quite important, especially, a lot of teams, every man and their dog are running this class strategy on office side now with the Jaeger. There was first coined actually in APAC North with the clash outside and the Jaeger and the ADSs. So I'm wondering about the banning strategy, whether Rogue actually just get rid of that and don't have to deal with it.
What's that?
don't think she's as effective on Skyscraper. There's not a lot of long angles and hallways that you can really hold on to. I think it's much more about having a full kind of map clear to try and clear up the top floor, particularly from one side to the other.
Yeah, and also the plant positions that you have on Skyscraper don't really fit the OSA, but you get to a safe position and then you plant, and where you are in a safe position, the OSA shield doesn't really unlock a position that you feel like you need to plant.
No. I'm quite curious to see what we get. Maybe a Thorn in this case. Some positions, there's a lot of places to hide equipment on the map. Curious about it. Thank you though, Fabian. And fresh, let's toss it then to our casters. Our last game for the day. It's Rogue v BDS. And we got Happinam to take us through it. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Milosh. And indeed, we are headed back to Skyscraper. We have done it before in APAC. Now we're going to be bringing it to Europe here. And it is that new map. It is always a bit of a question mark to see how it will end up. Who will drop the ball on this map? The ball of the ball. Yes, and BDS, of course, known as the benchmark. They had a rough start to the European League. They made a massive comeback happen from, I believe it was 6-1 to 6-8 in the end.
7 rounds in a row.
Yeah,
They got on the fine tune, and most of that was on their defense. Most of that was that start of their defense where they began to thread everything together and really started that drive. You know, you start with a little bit of shake, a little bit of difference in the pace, and I don't think there's too much in terms of, or too much more spread out in terms of difference between these two teams. BDS, one of the only unchanged rosters, a roster that obviously didn't have the SI that they wanted to or thought they could, versus Rogue, a roster that arguably lost some of the face of their new front, some of the reason that they were able to start taking some success and have rebuilt with Deepak, obviously his first time in Tier 1, who I'm sure you're going to talk about in a second. Big ET, and then Kanto, who had obviously a history to run in T1 already.
Yeah, for sure. And whereas Deepak did not really have the best of entries into the European League, it was also against what is now known as the new super team of G2. Let's see if this one will finally work. Many expect him to be first or second in the league, actually, after the end of the stage. I mean, so far they are still on schedule. They have 6 points. BDS, who were expected to be first, are currently on 2. Looking to find 3 more. So to some extent, maybe Rogue will have the toughest 2 matches out of the way from the first week of European League. So if they do manage to take some points home here against BDS, I think they will already be quite happy. Of course, they will be looking for a win eventually, but they'll be realistic as well.
Karaoke.
I was really confused what you just said there.
What? It's just
karaoke.
It's a fun-looking word, karaoke, isn't it?
I've never really thought of it that way.
Well, now I've put that in your head.
A lot of English words look funny.
That's true.
So,
are you excited as a Dutchman casting not the first Dutch person?
No, the first Dutch person was Ovi, actually, that played.
Very long time ago.
Was a Pro League champion back then with Pengu, even.
How long ago was this?
This is season 1
or
2, I think.
So it's been a while.
It's one of the first. Yes,
it's been a while.
It's been a very, very long while. But we finally have a Dutch player back in the league, and it's not with the Gamma Core.
Wait, easy. Are you observing or is this Medics?
This is Medics.
Medics. So it's not the Dutch trifecta of caster, player, and observer.
But there
Medics
is, of course,
just said, thank God.
Also Bernadette on the coaching staff of Rogue. So you know,
yeah,
there is quite some
four layers.
There is multiple layers to it.
But it's not just about the Benelux.
It is not about
the
Benelux.
Benelux, now English-speaking, is, but seeing how the adaptations can come together here. Rogue, as you said, their start was good to okay. There was a little bit of mistakes, a little bit of moments that had unfortunate disconnects, and unfortunate disconnect as well, that really takes the wind out of your sails regardless of the result. It gives you a bit of feeling, and that's something where the players, they're going to have to try and push past that. Renshiro, in the meantime, is making sure that BDS push past their sort of problems from the last week, which was a very slow start.
Yeah, Cryin instantly picked up there. Is not allowed to even fire a bullet out of the LMGE. And it's leaving the burden now on the remaining players of Rogue. Deepak trying to go for a bit of an aggressive swing here. Pings are coming through. Seems like they might be well aware by the side of BDS that there is indeed players coming from or towards the drum area. Skanta now goes for the jump, and he's actually going to be the first one that is attempting a gunfight here. gets spotted out. It's going to be taken out almost, actually. Use the adrenaline surge to get back up to full HP. Gone 6 used. The shield is gone, but 2 players watching from the top of drum towards that single doorway. There's definitely a trap set up here.
That's it. You can see them entirely stacked up. There is some pressure that's coming around onto Geisha on the far side, but as soon as they slip in, it's a double for Rafal. He had the high ground. Now he has 2 rogue charms for the trouble. They're paying some attention towards the approach on the opposite side, but there's not really anywhere for them to go. Leon tries to break his way through the single player on the opposite side of a box, and bit of a sprint. There he is. Alems caught a little bit sleeping, but it puts them still into the 4 versus 2. A minute left on the clock. They've got a power position on the stairs just to the side. Rips is seeing if he can find a fight from underneath. Can't quite get the angle of opportunity up the bottom of the black stairs. And that's that awkward sort of pinch now, as they're both quite isolated from each other with pretty much all the BDS players between each other.
Yeah, BDS started off really strong here, able to just shut them down as they wanted to take control of the mezzanine, of the drum area. But not really given anything here. They have taken Geisha, you just said it, had to run past that little edge of the hatch there to make sure he was going to be able to make it, and Lems did not quite expect that there, that very moment in time. Leon finds himself in sight now. They are well aware on the side of BDS. Pre-fires are coming through the walls. There's only 10 seconds left on the clock, and pre-fires are starting to come through. But Playday and Shaika both will be able to pick up a single kill. And as a result, they get round 1. Not the greatest start for Rogue here. BDS showing that they are indeed a force to be reckoned with.
It's a strong opener, but we've still got to see more of this game develop. And obviously, as we said before, BDS's defenses was where they really hit a gear. And as it was stated by the team on the desk, defense is where they sort of see Skyscraper situating itself. Although we have the data we can pull from other leagues, you only really know the interpersonal data when you get to grips with it inside a region, and then you sort of see it on the grander stage at a later date. But for now, as the first point of play, as the first point of push, to be honest, with BDS, it's not always the most surprising thing that they go for the new. I remember they're always, usually quite early adopters of new parts of the game.
And I mean, you kind of have to, right? Because they are currently at the top of the game. I mean, they haven't won anything, but they're still the best team in Europe internationally, usually. And if you keep your map pool limited to the same 4 or 5 maps that you know, and, you know, if one then gets removed due to a map pool change, 3 more get added, and you decide to not pick them up, you find yourself quite limited during a best of 3 at international events. So BDS picking up these new maps early on, trying to pioneer the strategies on it is actually a good thing, because it allows them to develop further and further behind the scenes, whilst they, of course, work with their strategies and see how they hold up against the European League teams. Repels again, I think this is why it's also defense-sided. A lot of it comes down to repels, right? There's the balconies you need to get onto. After that, you have very limited movement on those balconies. You basically are stuck within, like, a meter range over the course of the entire building. Which makes it a bit easier for attackers to go through. That's a Gemini replicator. I was going to say Shanko very close to our first engagement there, but it was just a holographic clone that walks around the corner.
It would have been a very bold approach.
It would have been very bold.
Directly towards the side of the stair set, but we don't quite have that as of yet. No, they're still going to see if they can fish out some control underneath in the bedroom and the bathroom on that ground floor. They're looking for the chance at a single pop at the loose players, and the thread also destroys the electronics and whatever else was stopping that wall being popped open. They're going for a bit of a breach underneath as well, by the looks of it. They were hoping somebody would try and trick it, or at least try and play directly against it with a bandit on the board. It's not the most out there idea, but this time it is.
Yeah, it's not happening for now. Something that stands out to me, though, is what we saw a lot during APAC, is, of course, the clash being played on that balcony. Stopped the main wall from being opened. Right now, got opened quite quickly. Not placed in a way, so it would have gotten the reinforcement towards the side as well. And that means there is going to be a little bit of safe ground here for the side of BDS, as the office of the bar office hasn't been opened up, that wall. Deepak playing close on the breach here. He's just waiting for that drone to feed some information. Pre-fires are coming through, but nothing will be found yet. Just long angles being created, and the EMP dart that goes off is going to give away that bulletproof cam position, so that will be taken out.
They're curious. They're curious about the hold here. BDS is doing. They're trying to work it out, as we all would be. They've sort of got themselves the cross angle. They've handed over that territory as no man's land, and that's where Rogue have found themselves. But that player, they've just got rid of Playday. That allows them to move up to that hard wall, the reinforcement, and the single one just tucked in, which means the rest of them can't quite get the full stretch over. They have to dig deep as they're trying to, and it becomes absolutely scrappy over the board. They worked out the one loose player that was stopping the plant, which was that smoke player, the well-placed grenade, and suddenly that back line has one blind spot, and that blind spot could be punished with the cross angles that came across either side.
Yeah, and this is why I like the way that APEC approaches this side, is where they put that clash on the outside. You allow yourself and your team to challenge that balcony, because right now, a grenade from underneath, they open up, there is an opening, right? And then they can start working. They can start feeling out the side, like where are they located? All right, just one in the bar, get the grenade around the corner. They all come running back for the side, but we are already planting by then. And there was nothing BDS could do there. All they could have done is hope that the smoke would have stayed alive and was able to stall out just a little bit longer with the SMG or shotgun. But Playday was not given that time. And now they're rerunning the same side, going for it again, not going for barbecue, which proved to be quite a defensible side as well. Of course, different region brings different playstyles, so what suits in APEC might not work here in EUL. But I still think that having a way to deny that balcony from being fully used is very beneficial for a defending team.
Slight changes, obviously, in the hold here from the defense. They've moved one of the hard walls over, the one that protected Playday and got him grenaded before. I think has taken one step to the side, so he's got himself a little bit more of a pocket of safety and is going less for a direct firefight if it gets opened up flat across it. And also, the bandit is gone in lieu of a mute. They still have some of the control that they had before, but it's a slight change, a slight different flavor. They think that with these adaptations, they'll be able to stop the approach. For the sake of Rogue, it's a slightly different approach for now. They've instead gotten themselves towards the top floor. They're going to see if they can try and get some of this control over this loose player. Just around the top of the dragon statue. They're trying to isolate that almost immediately, but Kanto isn't quite convinced he's safe yet.
He's very afraid of a potential jump out to happen from the bedroom area, and quite logically, of course, after the way that you have just won that round, BDS is looking for everything they can to try and potentially lock you off a little bit earlier before you put up the pressure onto the direct site. Rogue are going for a completely different approach here, though. They're going for a push through Geisha, through Karaoke, and basically just completely towards what I think is the western side. Yeah, it is. It's the first kill to come through. Lems finds Leon Gids, takes the head off clean, but it gives away the position as well, and the red pings are coming through. Deepek is quite close, with the Farmhouse is going to be able to pick up the kill as well. 4-on-4 finds a second, a beautiful double kill coming in, and an opponent wanted that because that's Mezzanines and Drum, both under control of Rogue now, which allows them to continue on.
Very great response there from Deepek. Made sure he was in a position to bite back and then swung on to the second, pushed the advantage, and caught the BDS player a little bit unaware or mid-reload. Either way, it was a second pickup, and that gives them the body advantage and that control, as you said, of a very important part. They still have to try and get past the next step, or at least feign some control over it, that dragon area and that real dangerous little box on the side of statue. They're expecting a bit of a swing out or some danger, but you can actually see that the smoke player Playday has pulled himself to a slightly different location. They've kind of tuned and tweaked this pull and this hold, and as they go for a little bit more damage and see nobody's tucked in the corner, Rips suffers a little bit over the top with Deepek just keeping down some suppressing fire.
Yeah, Rips and Krine have both been taking quite a bit of damage there as one smoke gets caught off, a second will be deployed. It's going to be blocking a small line of sight. It's nothing too much here. Shaiko still up the VIP stairs, is in a crucial position. I'm not quite sure if he sees that player prone. There's definitely some shots being fired downrange though as Playday tries with everything he got to stop them from moving in from the terrace side. Rips comes in from below, has been spotted. However, Shaiko is under big pressure here as Renshiro finds one. The opportunity is missed, but Renshiro is there for the cover. And with 7 seconds left, it's only up to Rips now. Gets shut down by Shaiko. And what started off great for Rogue as they took quick control of the drum and mezzanine, they were unable to convert into a round as the anchors were still there for BDS.
it's that big bout of space. The wonderful topiary and the fantastic dragon statue is a rectangle of destruction. The angles were open between it, and obviously the use of the smoke canisters. I mean, you know, you go around the world and you ask 100 different people in 100 different languages who they think one of the best smoke players in the world is. Breday's name is going to be up there quite a lot. He used the utility perfectly. He made sure that they couldn't quite get the access on one side. They had to funnel the dragon door. That's why they went for the rotation underneath. Rips was doing the right thing, but also so was BDS. They were watching that default cam that was still up. If that default cam wasn't there, if it had got a bit earlier, it could have been a very different story.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the story that was told, and it's that sort of response for response game here. Deepak pushing on to the second player. The ping was there. I think he was reloading the Jaeger, and it was just that combination of intel.
It's just timing going well at that point, right? And I mean, it's the Farmers. It doesn't have that many bullets. Didn't reload in between, so 26, being able to pick up 2 kills after you just completed an injury as well, which costs you a couple bullets. It's a risky move, right? So you're only going to do that if you're sure you're going to be able to pick up the kill and you know that he's reloading at that point. And it worked out well that time. BDS in the lead here. And Rogue needing to go back towards that first site. Karaoke and the T-room. Default cams are being hunted down just to make sure as much information is being denied as early as possible in that round, because there will be someone that is swapping through these cams, especially if there's roamers on the board. Doesn't really seem to be the case for now, however. As they're opening up these windows, it seems like they might want to go from below to the top, so bottom up. Something you do very often see. There's very limited sites where that is the approached and preferred approach for the attack. But so far, everybody is near that ground floor, and they're just holding off tight angles, are looking to see if they can catch anybody off that's rotating. Gun 6s are being used to get rid of electrification, of course, at the very same time, hoping to allow the rest of the team to open up. Leon Gibbs doing exactly that with one of those Selmas. That's almost the head being caught off there is going to be giving away a lot of awareness to the side of BDS as well. Like, hey, there is someone downstairs. That's a finger.
Well, we just saw a grenade get burnt out there by an ADS, and rightfully so, he moves to a slightly different location. There's the blow up and the pop on the Talon shield, and the second impact gets Rips down. There is a Finker on the board, and they get back up to their feet. Luckily, they didn't quite have the full confirmation that that player was down and alone, and the Ossa can keep fighting. Rips is able to live, however, their aggressor is not. Shaiko caught out by Cry, and the reverse grenade comes through. They're just going to pop some pressure onto the stairs. It was kind of left to the very end previously, that last push here, and it cost them because they were quite separate here with this body advantage. Can they try and press that control of Black Stairs?
Still plenty of time. A minute on the clock is and should be enough to make and execute happen, but they need to decide from where they want to push. Openings are happening all around the karaoke room, and as LMs just swings out and takes down Rips, that's suddenly a balcony less to worry about. But he doesn't have to worry about the round either anymore. Kanto eliminates him there with a single grenade use. So far, those have quite a good success rate for the verticality here. And as they start pushing up that main stairs, there's still a player around the drum area. They need to pick him up because Rafal is looking to strike deep here. It's going to be seen, though. Brief fires are coming through. Rafal, his position has been given away just as the shield to play around with here.
Breday's trying to offer some support here, and what perfect timing for a man, and Breday doubles it up. Leon's going to see if he can stick it in the meantime, and Cryin is keeping some of the consistency at post-plant for the first time, and we see them slinking away. Breday just catches Cryin, leaves Leon by himself, can't find the first fight. Breday is surgical with that SMG, and he was able to tear across a rogue attack that really started to find some success, but then just met those two French folk at the top of the stairs.
Yeah, I started to gain some ground there, but even if Breday would have missed the shots, you saw some other tracers head right through the head as well, which was a blind fire or a call-out that came in from the alibi player as well. And attack time will be called. Rogue wants to get an extra round in on the attack here, and they think that they need to make sure that they, you know, get everything ordered, get everything sorted right before that round comes. The attack time will be used. 45 seconds where they get to talk with their coaching staff. More specifically, the head coach, actually. It's not like they all start talking suddenly. To give them some last tips. Some pointers, some headers to see what could be better. And as that slowly runs out, we will be headed into the very next round, where BDS is looking to extend their lead, is looking to make sure they have a very big buffer headed into their own attacks, because they might need it. If you saw the game on Monday, not last week, 3 days ago, counting is still very hard. They did go for the massive comeback. From the 1-6 down to a 8-6 victory, BDS was able to get 7 in a row. But that was on the defense. And they're playing on that defense now. They have 3, so it's definitely a good start. They're looking to find 2 more. BDS will probably be aiming for a 1-5, whereas Rogue is looking for a 2-4 or 3-3 split. You don't really see where the problem lies there. Neither are content currently. Both want more rounds. Shotgun rotations are being opened up. We're headed towards the barbecue. Of course, due to the fact that BDS have won 2 rounds in a row, we'll be forced to find a tertiary site. And the barbecue here as well being chosen, just like APAC North, to be the site that BDS wants to defend. I like these magnets actually, placing them down on the steps. Like, it's very hard to take care of from the balcony. And if you place another magnet, like, below on another step, if it's a grenade that comes through, it's not going to be destroying the other magnets, I think.
You think?
I'm 90% certain of it.
Okay. Not 100%. Then.
Not 100%.
No one ever
It's very
is.
dangerous to say on a broadcast that you're 100% sure of something.
Yeah. That's how you end up with curses. All right, let's have a look at how this tertiary site comes together. If they can pull off the 3-site rotation, especially after the time to talk that has been offered by Rogue here. And it's worth saying that although we expected this from our perspective to generally lean towards the defenders, Rogue, whether they thought they could pull more out of it, they obviously at least think they can do better. And to be fair, they probably could, because they are getting these upper hand moments. They are having these close calls. They just can't quite get all the parts of the cart to move at exactly the right and the same time, and it's suffering them. It should arguably be 2-2 right now, but this is the way it is, and that's the way they're going to see if they can try and at least pull this back to an even balance. Playday on the pulse underneath, is keeping a keen eye on the intel that's rolling against him. He has a little bit of a stretch towards the pantry and the supply side, but otherwise all the aggression is currently coming towards the top. The hatch opened from a lot of range.
Extra heals coming through as some small amounts of damage have been taken by Kento himself. Airchips being set up as well. I think those are quite close compared to where currently Rogue is headed from. And also, we haven't really seen any big roam plays from the side of BDS. I'm not sure if this is just a precaution or something that they have seen before and are looking to stop before. That's a grenade being held currently. That is going to be landing right around the corner, I think. Actually has been released a bit early there as the drone came around the corner. No more grenades left in the pockets of Kento. I still think there is 2 for Crying. So if they get that drone back in a position, they might be able to get a free kill here on BDS.
Well, they're trying to find a route through, and nothing seems obvious right now. It seems like Rogue have found themselves stacked up. They're expecting BDS potentially in other positions. It's a huge rotate from Cryan, going all the way around, potentially towards Shower on the opposite side. Now, just a little close window, looking up towards the mezzanine. Leon a D-Peck in the meantime, find one apiece. Shaiko stops it, but they're going to push their way via the pantry towards the removed pulse and the player on the other side. Renshiro still doing bits behind the sushi bar, suffers quite a lot in the fight. The grenade's going to force him to at least another side, and he's just going to see if he can fight his way out, but Cryan has it locked down. 3 versus 2, but less than 30 seconds. Rafal has to try and rotate his way back across. If he can catch somebody out here, well, he's not quite sure if he can. Cryan is definitely waiting and watching for his number. D-Peck just going to smoke out the opposite side and try and allow a bit of space for the plant, but Shaiko's made his way inside the site. Look where the kit is. That's the big problem. It's a 3 versus 1, though. Shaiko, he's in a position here where he might not know that the verticality's fallen against him, but he knows they're all coming for him either way. D-Peck locks it out with that verticality.
Using that verticality, quick, spots the knee there, well shot. He's going to be able to find the round. Rogue have 2, looking for a 3rd now. BDS, they got so close there. The diffuser dropped outside was a... I mean, if he would have jumped outside, I think he would have even gone the round there.
It's
because there's
such
if
a
Shaiko
bold claim.
Yes, like if you know there's no one there.
But he would have.
But he would have won the round because they were above. And if you need to go down, you need to rappel down. Costs a lot of time, makes a lot of noise. People are jumping out from your window. There's only one window out.
Yeah.
So,
but the thing is that the moving parts of knowledge.
Yeah, that's
for that to be the right call at that moment.
We know everything.
We know everything. We know that the kit's down. We know where the 3 players are. Shaiko maybe had reads on where the players were, maybe had reads where the kit was. We don't know how old that information is. He doesn't know, and he also has to have the game sense to go, nobody's out here. Because if someone's out there, then you've thrown the round.
Yeah, right. And it's like I can either try and hide in the kitchen where they currently are not putting any pressure down, or I go outside and give away my position due to the ping. And of course, it's easy for us to say going outside was the right choice here at those 5 seconds left, because there was no way that someone could have followed you out there. They don't know that, of course. There could have been someone out there. There could have been someone up on the rappel waiting for you to go for the jump out. You don't know if you have been droned. Either way. 2-on-3. Rogue are looking to equalize the score here on Skyscraper. And as we're headed back towards the exhibition, it seems like they're going back towards that previous stake, the one that they have done before, and the one that was basically not really being challenged by the side of BDS due to them just allowing the exhibition wall to be opened up for free.
Well, this is it, and we're going to have, again, just a slight change up as well from the defenders. They haven't pulled on the bandit. They've made sure they've gone with slight differences here. Playday is still buried in on the close corners, and last time it was a grenade that took him out, but it was built on the grenades that came underneath, and it seems like BDS are paying a little bit more of a direct awareness. There is that singular player there just really trying to cause confrontation. Alems not droned by the first.
Oh, that definitely should have seen him here. He stands up and he gets taken out. Well done there. Rips finds the kill and brings the body balance in favor here of Rogue. It's going to be a good start for their execute. Shaiko still playing on the VIP stairs, the house stairs, as the compass call-out says. Just trying to make sure that this bottom floor approach, this bottom floor control that they currently have at the sides of Rogue is not going to be damaging them too much. But as it is opening up right next to him here, VIP is coming under immense pressure, and he's no longer going to be able to play there for as freely as he was able to do before.
This is it. This is the bit of Rogue that looks so good right now, is their ability to quickly shift attention and focus to a new point of ingress, a new way to try and break themselves through. This is, in a way, the third style of take we've seen from them. Sure, they're still going for the breach that they had before, but it's a very different approach. That grenade doesn't quite get the bounce that they wanted, but Pallady's pulled himself further back when Shiro pulls off Deepak, gets rid of the man who pulled in the big kills on the previous round. Leon slips his way through and goes for the fight on the door itself. Pre-fires, but Pallady fires back, rips the corner and tears him off. It's still sort of even, but Shaiko and Kanto keep it sort of even. The sprays are coming across the board. There is Shaiko buried in the middle of the site, and now the only one left puts them into a 1 versus nobody, crying. Other side of a hard wall and a 3-3. So that even balance of kills comes through across the scoreboard.
Balanced half here, even though BDS looked quite well in those first 4 rounds. Rogue have been able to find an adaptation after their tactical timeout. 2 rounds in a row that were able to win, bring it back balanced here. 3-3. And now they'll be on the defense themselves, where they can try and make the difference against the BDS, who, you know, they struggled in their first game. They were 1-6 down, made the comeback happen, but you mentioned it before, on their defensive half. And now Rogue is on that defense, BDS on the attack. And it's something that usually they are quite efficient with, right? It just looks like clockwork. At least in the past it did. And we didn't quite see that in the first Playday on Monday. So let's see if they got their clock fixed. Or if it's still off rhythm.
Now, it is the chance for Rogue to try and apply some of this. And as we said, there was, I think if we were to highlight the problems with Rogue on the first Playday that they highlighted themselves, those mistakes mainly happened on their defense. It was little disconnects, though. It was little moments from, you know, these little kind of harsh moments where a bit of utility didn't quite land where it needed to be, or a little bit of a swing at the wrong time. That's stuff you can fine-tune. That's stuff that you can bring on a game day where you have a good sort of mental attitude, and that is what this team has always tried to drive themselves home about. And you can see they're coming back, having their timeout. They know what they can try and apply here, and now they're going to be tested by the BDS approach, which last week wasn't so great.
No, it wasn't that great indeed. And, you know, Rogue at the same time made a lot of mistakes, allowed Citizen, for example, to sneak through many times. Rafal here taking a bit of a risk trying to get rid of the mute gemmer. We'll find it. No challenge coming through. Also no impacts to get rid of these. But that's Kanto looking to go aggressive. Decides to not do it, but there was a player on the other side. It's Shaka that swings back with the LMG and finds that very first kill. The Joker drones believed, yeah, indeed, being put in position here to try and hold on to Exhibition for as long as they possibly can, but Krine already deciding to fall back here. Rips also taking damage. It's just a very explosive start to the round here with gunfights going on in many different places.
Yeah, Krine got himself out of there before everything fell apart. Kanto suffered an onslaught of BDS players, and they made sure they had all the intel and drones to work behind it. A minute and a half gone, they've got control of the other half of the second story, but we talk now about that terrifying space in the middle, where you have Drum, where you have Dragon, where you have that lead-in. This is the bit of clarity. This is the tough corner to wrangle and try and fight your way through. Prepping and controlling themselves in case Krine goes for an adventure background. The Nomad is going to move aloft. But there's still the danger of somebody shooting their way up from underneath from mezzanine and from that other approach. It's a lot of destructible floor, as proven by Rogue before. So BDS still have to have an awareness whilst they have a bit of pace.
One of the hot pockets inside of Drum has just been used. I saw there was also two near the Exhibition side on the VIP staircases. As the openings are now starting to occur right here, Rips is looking to find a counter to it. Could be using his smoke canisters, will do exactly that. At least stops them from moving in for at least now. Can waste a total. Oh, that's a grenade from below. He's not going to be able to catch anything below the drone. Shaco unable to find a kill there. Deepak definitely alerted about that one. Is looking for a very tight angle. Is going to be spotting it. A good kill into Playday. Drops a diffuser. Grenade coming into Rips now. Needs to be aware of this. Rolls right in him, but Lems finds the kill right before it pops.
Now then, BDS 20 seconds and Krine still underneath. He's going to see if he can try and cause some damage back up the stairs and get this cross angle, hoping that they believe it's clear. Waiting for the swing across, and his gifted Nomad pulls himself to a new location. In the meantime, Shaiko over the top gets one more. Deepak still shuts the door. He's tucked in, and no! A revenge reversal last time from the player, the reveal on the legs. And can he find that loose player? Krine, he's looking for the cover. He's looking for that important part. He's a split second too late. Sees the first. Just one more to try and piece. He's on the door. No, it's a trade. No. Thought it was a trade for a second because two names flashed up, but it was just the UI tricking me. Rafal walks away, but BDS would have had the round anyway.
Rafal walks away. Indeed, is going to be able to lock off that round for BDS, but for a while it seemed like Rogue was going to be able to, well, step it up there. Maybe Krine on that flank should have been a little bit more on those main stairs after that first kill instead of falling back again and going towards the back stairs. Unable to get the round win there. But it's not over yet. An Exhibition and Office will be up next. It's an area, though, that they had to abandon quite quickly in the previous round. Of course, it wasn't the exact bomb site back then. There was definitely a lot of utility placed towards it, though. A couple of ADSs, some mute jammers, two hot pockets. None of that really mattered in the end. Kanto tried to go aggressive, unfortunately got picked up, and, well, that just gave away the space for free. Krine fell back because he knew that 5 players of BDS were about to be knocking on his door, and he did not really look forward to that one. So decided to find a new home. 3-4. Rogue. It's still possible. I mean, it doesn't look like they're completely being outclassed by BDS. I mean, the scoreline doesn't even indicate that either.
Well, that's the tricky thing with Rogue's opening 2 Playdays, is it's been G2 and then it's been BDS.
Yeah, so they theoretically might have had the 2 toughest opponents out of the way after this week.
Yeah, and that's always something you got to take into consideration in these games is if you are fighting the best, you're going to be fighting the best. All those moments, it doesn't really matter. You know, you can play so finely tuned, which the moments where they're on, which has been Rogue pretty much all of this game. Last game as well against G2, most of the game they were aggressive. Most of the game they were attentive. Here it's more of a balanced performance. We're seeing more of the players step up alongside the roster, where as last Playday, Leon was sort of that tour de force form at the top of the board.
Yeah.
But it's BDS, and BDS are playing better than they did on the previous day. BDS here, they've been able to get their first attack. They took their first attack on the other map, but it was the only attack round they had until OT.
It's a bit of a worry, right? They need to make sure that they do not repeat that now, because that would mean game over. A lot of drones going on in the living room currently, or the living area. Checking the bathroom, checking the bedroom, making sure there's no one below with any C4s to be used, and allowing Shaco to use grenades vertically instead. Oh, that, yeah. Just shoot that grenade. Maybe something happens. I don't know. But yeah, that's an unfortunate use there.
Imagine if it exploded and killed him.
I mean, I've seen X-Cars being bounced up after they were on the ground.
Yeah,
right?
I saw a video of somebody.
Oh, that's gonna get tricked. Leon gets it. Oh, that is gonna be huge. Is there any other left? Yes, there is still one left. So Rafana trying to get a grenade over. It's just going to be to try and dislocate the player out there. The grenade pops. And that is going to be opening up. There's no way you're going to be tricking that. There's no way you're going to be tricking that. The Nitro, however, comes through. That gets it. Oh, he gets it with the Nitro. And the wall stays closed. They need to do it with the Maverick now if they want to open up.
Well, Rafal has a bit more work to do, and luckily he's quite used to playing the Maverick role. Lems is watching for the flank and the rotation that comes underneath, but Kanto seems to have a bit of an awareness, and there are options to get out of here and put some pressure elsewhere. He's not the only one that's off the site, but the longer they're there, well, the longer this time goes on, the more likely BDS are just going to try and charge site, and the less people you have putting a presence down means that that flank is just going to turn into a retake.
Is out of fuel? They're going to be able to shoot it out anyway in the end there, but all the fuel used just for the single breach here, and Leon gets a bit of an aggressive peek right around the bomb chassis.
Yeah, he's looking to see if he can try and just keep them at bay 30 seconds, and we hear a smoke canister pop elsewhere, but there goes Leon. Ranchiro finds him underneath. Now they're going to go for the push up that main stairs towards VIP, but it's smoked. Stopped at the top. Shaiko and Alem's able to find one apiece. Crime goes down to 4 versus 2, and this is that retake I was talking about at point. It's got to come and try and strike. They know where Kanto is now. They're going to be able to at least get the blast down, but Kanto with the triple. 1 versus 1 once again. Rafal is that last player standing. The Maverick pulls himself out towards the breach. Kanto, he's holding on to the defuse. He's taking it. He's letting it go. Pulls up. Oh, he gets Kanto! There is the carry rocket, and there he is earning his title.
Kento Forgetti, I think it was, the frags all he's going to be getting here. What a clutch that was. It was like, okay, 1. No, the 2 is also pretty good, and then the 3rd one on the diffuser. It was on such low HP, able to clutch it out in the end there. Very big round there for Rogue, able to at least keep everything balanced for now. And it could have been, and should have been a BDS round, because it was an effective 1v4.
So the thing that I was going to say, actually, before all of that started, when you were talking about fun utility usage, you can bounce air jabs off of drones.
Yeah, I saw that as well, so you can get it behind. But I mean,
so if you have
Fresh is looking really confused now.
So if you fire an air jab at a drone, it bounces off it, so you can do corners with air jabs.
Yeah.
You can trick shot it into places where people are. So he's going to try that later. You can also do it with, you can bounce a lot of things off a lot of things. You can do it for like, I think C4s you used to be able to bounce off vault cams.
Now it's
so if you like put a vault cam down and through the C4 at it, it would go underneath like white van at the bottom of Consulate or something like that.
You're probably going to be able to bounce it off Valkyrie cameras as well.
Siege is a very bouncy game.
The thing is, right? If an air chip is in like just like the Ella, like the Grismot mine, is a gadget that sticks on things.
Yeah.
Some things are like they have a collision in themselves, but do not stick. Like you cannot stick to it. So a drone, for example, has a collision hitbox, but it doesn't like stick to it. So that's why it bounces. The same goes for a Valkyrie cam, and some other gadgets as well. So that's why you can use it like that.
Science is fun. Throw your gadgets at gadgets. Maybe you'll find new ways to bounce things around. Here, Rogue have bounced back, but back and forth. It's kind of been this consistent game so far. Can they just get that tied together? Can they get a second round in a row here and try and drive themselves ahead for the first time? Unfortunately not finished, but nobody's putting any intense pressure on them, so they're able to just go back and do a little bit more hard work on it.
Yeah, for sure. I like the adaptation, though. BDS, they just decided to, you know, let's not take the Thermite anymore. We're just gonna be working with the Maverick, not having any risk of being tricked here by the Bandit. Oh, C4 that flies right around the corner. Leon gets wanting to go aggressive there, finds the Ossa behind the Ossa shield somehow. Just a tight angle being held there and being challenged. There's a second player gets there as well, Richiro. You shouldn't have lost that. Yet the advantage, you knew exactly when you were going to pick. Leon gets it to go for the gamble, and Rogue having 2 big plays in a row now. Kento with a quad kill clutch, and now it was Leon Gitz with his 2nd kill in a row behind the same also shield. And guess what? Shaiko's right behind him now. If someone should be able to win that gunfight, it should be him. Is Leon Gitz going to try and take it?
He's looking for a fight pretty much everywhere, and I said he didn't quite have the same pace as he did on the previous day, but well, he's warming up to it, and he ended up absolutely storming through, and the energy's coming to him on his defense, moving the drones round. Thanks to his work, they now have 2 bodies over their opponents, and it's almost 3. Alem suffers at the top of the black stairs, separated from Shaiko. The Echo drone calls out the play in the place, stops the stun, but does mean the smoke canisters around that Finker boost for a second are a little bit more dangerous. That C4 is even more dangerous. Alem's caught out by Crying, had the confidence to go for the swing, knowing Shaiko was stuck on a corner. There it is, down to the top, but his world not entirely rocked. 3 Rogue players have suffered quite a lot of damage, and there is still 2 grenades in the pockets of Rafal if he can try and do a little bit more of his own. But here, they still need the kit, they still need to drive towards the site itself, and there's only 30 seconds.
Good trade kill coming through there. Actually, Shaiko almost killed Deepak there by shooting that hot pocket. He's on 1 HP now. Shaiko low as well, ready for the adrenaline surge to come back online. 20 seconds. That's a Yokai drone that just pushed through. He's trying to go for the plant here. That is going to be a call giveaway sign for Crying to go for the swing. And that means that Rogue is now in the lead. You can see that Leon Gitz, he's getting a bit vocal there. He's swinging on the Ossa shield, getting 2 kills from it. And now the round favors them here as well. Barbecue Kitchen is up next. Rogue have been able to find 2 in a row, and that forces that tertiary site maybe to, well, the help of BDS here, because that last round, that wasn't really BDS-like.
BDS, I mean, once again, on their attack, they're sort of stumbling a little bit, as they did on Monday. Just remembering the day of the week.
Yeah.
As they did at the start of the week, they
Look at how tight this angle was.
struggled.
Like, just a pixel or 2 of the head.
Woo. That's recoil control, baby.
It is. And then to predict when the swing was going to come.
That's recoil control, baby. Finds 2 on a doorway, on an Ossa shield, which I guess it always shows a trust in a gadget. But the thing is, at this tier, and a player in that situation is they're going to shoot as they move. They're going to just guess and hope whether you're going to pop up at the top or pop up on the right or, you know, the left, regardless of what sort of situation you're in. The one they need to cover with bullets so they can move out the way. Leaning into that as a firefight, there's a lot of players that are very good at making sure that they have the control and the movement of the gun to move it towards the side you pop your head out of. Going against Leon in that situation, and let's be real, that Echo gun, it's quite a laser beam.
I was going to say, it's not the hardest gun to
No.
It's not an M762, you know? But it's still something you need to control. So, I mean, well shot twice there. I mean, technically they had the advantage as well, as they were playing behind a transparent shield and had the peeker's advantage. They could decide when they wanted to swing up.
That's it, but in the hands of Leon, well, a laser beam turns into an even more dangerous laser beam. 5-4, Rogue have the lead for the first time in this showdown, and we also have for the first time their 3rd site, Barbecue. The deliciousness that it is, and I hope we're making everybody hungry at pretty much midnight now as we prep ourselves towards the pressure that might come across the kitchen and the sushi bar that was the front of the other part of the site, the hold, where we saw Rogue start to try and break down on the back line of the pantry against BDS.
Windows are being opened up, angles are being created, and grenades are being tossed in. The first kill lands in favor of BDS. Crying that loses his life. Deepak takes a small amount of damage as well on the second head. That gets cleanly taken off. Leon Gitz loses his own. And with that, it is now going to be a 3v5, almost a 2v5 advantage here for the side of BDS. If Kanto suddenly strikes again, Shaiko is going to be removed from the board. Not quite sure where that happened, but with them having some control here now, Alems is deep, quiet inside, waiting for Rips to overstay his welcome. He's just standing there with that nitro cell. I think if that lands in that window, that might actually get the kill. No, didn't actually go through enough. Drones will be spotting him, though. He's basically stuck on the staircase here. He cannot leave. If he goes over the top, he will be shot from the balcony. If he goes down below, he will be shot by either Alems or Rafal that are holding off that exit there.
But how long? That's the sort of game that they're playing right now. How long can they sit and wait and not put pressure onto this player? Because, sure, he's one guy, but he's got 3 of them having to watch the outs of this, and there's still stretch and support. He has to try and dive for the kill or the fight at some point, 40 seconds, and Alems finally goes for it. Finds Rips, takes him out. Maybe he went for the rotate himself, but Alems finds a quad. He's on for an ace now, and I think he's a little bit sick of losing. Renshiro gets the 5th there, but at one point, Alems just suddenly drove himself through the sight and the fire.
Yeah, jumped in quite early, was able to pick up quite some kills as well. The result, he basically just made sure that that bottom floor had his name written all over it, while the rest of his team was working on that top floor, and worked out quite well. 5-5, equalized here. No more tactical timeouts for Rogue, so they don't have the opportunity to call it now. BDS still has theirs in pocket. They're not deciding to use it yet. That's probably waiting up until Rogue reaches that 6 mark. Up until Rogue has got the first point in pocket and is looking like they might be able to take the full 3. We're headed back towards exhibition here. Again, we don't see a clash or anything like that is not being brought here. There's different ways to stop them from opening up. Like Liam gets just running right at the wall and deciding to go for a bandit trick as there's nades on the other side. Or then tossing a C4 through the same hole they made to throw these grenades through.
I mean, it's a use utility that is worthwhile because you're stopping what is an intent breach. And sure, they had the Maverick, but it took about 30 seconds for them. It took a reshuffling for them. It took all of whatever was in the canister for them to be able to get that through. And at that point, that trade-off is so worth it.
I'm actually wondering if it might be better to play on that position with impacts, because they'll open it up from below with a mute, like for the mute jammer, so they take that out. After that, you can just impact nade through that hole they've made. So if they want to go for the exothermic, then you can just toss it through, and there's not really anything they can do from that angle, because the balcony's not wide enough to go for that tight angle. And if you go repel, there's also the little railing on the side that will protect you from being shot from outside on the repel. So that might be something that is possible in the future, maybe. Either way, we'll see if they'll be successful again. This time the take seems to be coming more down from the karaoke and tea room side. D-Beck is playing close on those mezzanines. There is a player all the way in Dragon as well as a sort of form of support. Definitely positions being given away from Shaiko here as he fired a couple of shots. D-Beck will rotate out. Might have been spotted by the drone there, depending if someone was watching it at that very moment in time. Doesn't seem to be the case. He might have gone on drone here. That could be a potential nitro cell that gets tossed up later.
Rogue, 1 round away from securing a point for this, and obviously this is where their run sort of ended on the previous Playday. They only just fell short with the 5 rounds. The C4 doesn't quite get the catch on the player. They're able to keep themselves dug in. Shaiko survives, and that would have been a huge loss as he has started to really come into this game, be a bit of a driving force outside of the previous round where Alems was the only driving force for BDS. The damage is done towards VIP. Another grenade rolls around, and D-Peck is stacked up ready with the shotgun. The red dot will give the game away that he's there, but to be honest, you sort of know that anyway. He's actually keeping it just on this side of the door for now. Renshiro is going to drone his way around. Alems is going for a bit of a creep and crawl underneath. They still have a lot of grenades, and now they have one less Leon to deal with, and Shaiko takes out D-Beck as well. Just decides to swing with the LMG and goes for a little bit more damage and destruction, leaving just the 3 players on the site. But Cryin and Rips together, they drop down and get some control back. Here is Kanto. He's on a bit of a prowl.
He's looking to go for a big flank here, and it might be very important if he hits it at the right time. That's one on the drone. The trigger discipline not coming through, and Shaiko will be able to actually get the kill as a result. He's being challenged, though, from the Dragon doorway, and as he tries to swing around the corner, he's right prone behind the desk. There's also one on the VIP. There's a quad kill for him. Is he going to go for the ace instead? No, he's not. He gets shut down. It's Cryin that finds the kill. A 1-on-2 situation. The plant is suddenly happening. Playday, 45 seconds on the clock very soon as Cryin tries to rotate up through these VIP stairs. Has been spotted, has been heard. Rafal was waiting for him to peek around the corner and finds that kill. And BDS now onto a map and match point here, looking to take the full 3 points home. And if Rogue is going to be able to find one more, just one more, they find a point and have the opportunity to fight for 2.
Well, that's 2 BDS rounds in a row where 2 different players have gotten a 4K and been that drive. And you know, it's something about their roster where they all have that capability to be that huge player. And I guess happening now, and they're this close to the line and the wire when they needed it most, it's good that they're starting to show up, but still having a player pop off, having a player beat the 4K, because it's not just really like that previous round and in a 2 versus 1. It wasn't that it was just a clean sweep and a clean bout of pressure there. You're looking at 30 seconds left in the round in both that round and the previous round as well. It's still doable for Rogue, and that's that problem, is 2 games in a row where it's always been doable and they fall just short would be so bitter.
It would definitely be. And that is something you want to avoid, right? You want to make sure that you take these wins home if they are within grasp. They still are. Of course, you need a little bit more than BDS. But for the majority of the game, BDS has been the leader in score count. Only a single round Rogue was able to take that lead. After that instantly taken back here by BDS. And they're looking to finish the job. In that previous round, I mean, what do you do when Shaiko just decides to, you know, get activated, run in, swing the doorway with an LMG and doesn't refuse to stop holding that left mouse button? It's not much you can do, I guess. Either way, they want to open up quickly. And again, we will see the opening from below. That is going to be getting rid of the mute jammer. And this is what I was talking about. If you do manage to get an impact through this, which is, of course, not the case, as Kento is playing here. Jaeger does not have impact. You could maybe try and stall them out a little bit here. Get rid of these X-Carros as they're being deployed. Force them to use more utility or join in from different sides. They are being droned in currently. His red ping's coming out on the players of Rogue as well in the very meantime. They need to be careful at their next moves here. Shaiko is waiting at the door here. He made a very small opening. And oh, just a single misstep of Kanto here will get himself killed. There it is. That's the entry. Shaiko finds him. And BDS now 4 kills away from taking the win.
Well, that is just another blow here. Kanto has been loose and wild on that roam game. The control that we talked about that BDS sort of played on the site was his to adventure, roam and do some damage around. And here, it's a slightly different story so far. Can they hold on? 1:20, and Shaiko goes down. Deepek caught him in the hot pocket. The fire of the Vulcan burns brighter than Shaiko right now, even with his 16-10, and that will take him out of the game. Rogue, it's a 4 versus 4. They've come to a little bit of a standstill here, but they've been able to come to a drive on this play before. They still have the lockdown on the stairs. They still have the control here on the close corners, and Deepek is going to do his best to be that bouncer on the door.
As that shotgun, it's one of your most trustworthy sidekicks if you want to make sure that that door is not going to be passed by any of those players. As the first hot pocket is being passed on for a, extended amount of time, just making sure they cannot go for the push now. It just holds them back a small amount. There's still a second one in position. Deepek can pop from a bit further away. Grenades are coming around the corner here as well. Will not find anything, however, as he's inside of gold. More grenades being tossed in towards those main stairs. Those might actually find some success on Rips here as he tries to rotate down. I believe he lives, but he's completely blinded here. And BDS start opening up on many different opportunities here.
That smoke saved his life, stopped them being able to get a clean entrance, but the Maverick is doing all the work he can as quickly as he can. But look at this, they've pulled back, they've been able to pop Leon. Now they have some control, they have the swing round, they don't have underneath, and that's the danger. Deepek gets one, stops the plant, 6 seconds, and they don't know where to sit and stand. Every single section of this floor is hot, the pings continual, and the player sprayed. Rogue have got themselves a point, but the job's not done yet.
It is still possible. The win might still come through as they had the pings, they had the information there. And enough time wasted. Those smoke canisters used well. Those hot pockets coming in clutch as well. And now 6-6. A best of 3 in rounds, and Rogue starts off on the defense, which has been working out quite well for them. They just need to find an extra round here. If they find the first one, then they are the ones with a match point that they can try and translate into 2 points instead.
BDS, they're still having a couple of these falters, a couple of these moments, it's always the toughest thing for them because we compare them to them. We compare them to what we know they're capable of. And okay, Skyscraper, it's a new environment. It's a new place for all the attackers. As they said on the desk, you expect attackers to struggle more than defenders on this map because it's new. But BDS also struggled with their attacks on Villa a couple days ago, and they're having some of the same moments where they just seem a little bit disjointed, a bit disconnected. They're trying to work out a little bit of that sleepiness from the time between the previous season, but the time between the end of last competitive year and the start of this one. And, you know, sure, as I said, they've popped off a couple of times over the past few rounds, but when nobody is popping off, they're at a bit of a standstill.
Yeah, that's it. They need to make sure that they continue to go on as strong as they did before. And it is difficult, of course, because the competition, you know, it grows. Everybody is looking and preying on your downfall if you are just consistently good like BDS have been. I mean, they have won the European League. That's why they have the Golden Throne in the intro that we play. Just like G2 for the 2022 season that was. And people will be looking towards BDS. I mean, they have been able to find success every single season, every single stage. And other teams want that. So they start looking at how to counter BDS, how to play into their weaknesses, how to play into your own strengths as well. And that might make it just a little bit more difficult for them than it might be for others in the European League currently. Either way, 2 minutes on the clock. There's a minute that has passed. Slowly but steadily, the exhibition is being taken under control for BDS again here. Spelling out, it is definitely clear. There is surely still some hot pockets around, so Lems needs to be very careful when he passes his door.
Shaiko was obviously the early removal before, when a player is going 16 to 10, being dropped to a Vulcan. Well, he's a few steps further away from the fire this time around. Playday with the Selmas is ready to try and offer some assistance towards the Maverick. They're going for a little bit more pace here and actually just going to ping it first, change the hands of the diffuser, and they can start getting this wall done. Nothing to stop it. So Rafal can go elsewhere with the kit and bring it to the support of the others so it doesn't get stuck in Geisha.
Seems to be going for a big rotate though. He jumped all the way down, so I'm not quite sure what the plan there is, but still have some players below here. I'm not quite sure. Is that C4 operator? No, it's not. I believe that's Deepak. Of course, playing with a shotgun. Yeah, it is playing near the staircase here. An SMG-11, a shotgun, is looking to put up the pressure for if they do decide to push into the hallway here. It's going to be a crossfire if Rips watches the right way. That is going to be the big if, however. And a big question to see if they will indeed. Smoke canisters still being popped, 40 seconds on the clock. They're starting to open up onto the wall. This might be a position, might be a time where you want to pop that hot pocket so they're not going to be able to get inside the gold. As Deepak gets the very first kill with the shotgun here, he's just still waiting close. And with the last smoke canister popped through, the time is slowly running out.
This is really a position Deepak has played so well throughout this showdown, and BDS has struggled to root him out. There's one more for his trouble, and Shaiko takes another knee throughout the rest of this round. The fire stops them getting that approach. The time is slipping away, and the kit does as well. Renshiro tries to push and put the pressure on. Rafal is all that's left. He's holding on for the plant, but as soon as the moment comes through and the call, there it is. Rogue once again 1 round away. Or at least before. This time it's to lock it out rather than just get themselves close.
Last time it was to get into OT. This time it will be to take the full 2 points. No, not the full 2 points, but 2 points.
The full 2 points of what's
away
left.
from the side of BDS. Now a tactical timeout is being called by BDS. They realize that it is a very important round, and this is what I said to you as well. They probably will call it as soon as Rogue is on match point, because that is when everything can start slipping away from them here. I'm not quite sure how they are currently, if they're relaxed or maybe a bit stressed. I mean, Shaiko was having his hands in his head a little bit earlier on, but seems more relaxed now, actually. Just sitting back. It's kind of crazy, though, because we know we have some players that literally eat up their monitor when they're playing, and then you have Shaiko who's just playing in a very comfy chair, what it looks like.
It does look like a really comfy chair.
He's making sure he feels comfortable when he drops 16 kills casually in a European League match.
I think the thing about Shaiko as well is over the past 2 rounds he's been locked out. He was obviously the first off the board in the round that got Rogue to OT. There, he couldn't quite get the swing round onto the fight on Deepak, who was in a different position. Usually we saw obviously Deepak inside gold, just holding on for dear life. There he was on the stairs with the shotgun, and he works it very well. As I said, that power position has been played so well by him today.
Yeah, he definitely did well there indeed. He's been able to well, not lock off that round, but he's been able to lock off that hallway. Let's just put it up like that. That forces BDS to find different avenues to try and get towards the site, because, you know, if one fails, okay, maybe you can send in the second player to try and take that position, but if that also fails, now how many are you going to be tossing at those staircases there if you do not have grenades left to get rid of the player? Alam's is looking for a good place to place the Black Eyes. One goes into the corner of the karaoke room. Still one left. One has already been placed. He's going to be keeping onto that one for now, checking all the cameras to see if he can spot and locate where the push is going to be coming from, and indeed has done so with the camera that has been taken care of. It's a quick opening into Geisha. Leon Gids is not wasting any time here. They want to make sure that they have control of whatever they can take as early as they possibly can. Always going to be a good help as well, as Deepak is hunting down the default cams in the building itself, just to make sure and let BDS guess. Was there someone there? Could there be someone still there? And what do we do about it?
So Rogue, what are the adaptations you want to try and bring to this take of karaoke, the site that was an 100% rate for BDS before? They did almost catch a loose player here, and Kanto's going to see if he can do the same. They know that there's stuff to catch the grenades, but they did some great work with grenades underneath. There was the second approach here where they were in a 4 versus 2, and then it just all fell apart at the top of the staircase when they tried to shove their way up there. They know that they can bring a little bit of adaptation here, because after this round's failure, where it was so close and could have been theirs, they had their tech timeout. They had that conversation to see what else they can turn around, and they're making sure that nothing is wasted here. The approach comes across from Geisha.
Since that tech timeout, Rogue has been playing a little bit better than they did before. This drone of Deepak's going to be spotting out a player at least. And a Geisha double door. Alem's known, located. However, he has rotated out, and that means he's out of reach for grenades for now, but Crane might be able to find a way to still get one connected to him, though. No, he was on the concrete right behind it. So he's not going to be taking any damage there. Starts opening up some of these rotates to ensure he can challenge Geisha if they do start and decide to step in without any pressure onto the main stairs.
Leon, he is waiting on that karaoke window. He just needs a little bit of cover, maybe a BDS body to be pulled out so he can go for a swing in and see if he can try and get it stuck down. Playday suffers a little bit over the top, but they still need the smoke. They still need the attention to be pulled away, because there's more than enough guns to be led in and lent on here. The pressure's going to come up the bottom of Black Stairs right now. You can see they're trying to find an angle, but 40 seconds and still stuck on that window. He's not confident, and that's because of the player inside the corridor. The breach and the opener on that hard wall means he can be also swung from the other side. He finally goes in. Feet on the ground and finds the first fight against Shaiko. Tries the deep dive, but Cryan has the cover, and Leon's sucked in behind the hard wall. He's going to be able to get this down. Alems is going underneath, potentially with the C4. All the things are coming together, but it's too late. A post plant, 5 versus 4 versus 1. And there it is, the fight on the Black Stairs. The Lems can't get all the way through. You see it on Leon's face, but there's smiles across the board. Rogue take the win. The 2 points are theirs. It was still a bit of fight, but at least this one is all the way.
It was a very rough fight for them, definitely so. They started to come back. BDS then got up to match point. They managed to find themselves back in. I mean, big clutches came through from Kanto. We had Leon Gids with an important double kill on the Ossa shield. And you said it before, Deepak locking down those main staircases, making sure that BDS was not allowed to push through. They pick up 2 points here, and those are 2 very important points. They are 2 points against a team that you might not expect to win from at all here at the European League. Because BDS, we consider them the benchmark. We consider them top 2. The reality right now is that they're 5th or 6th place, so it's not really coming through just yet. However, Rogue, they might have had the 2 toughest opponents out of the way now.
Time will tell. We have many Playdays left, and at least 1 more desk. So let's take a quick break, and we'll see what they have to say.